In this episode of Just Informed Talk, Q gives us the insight into the latest breaking news about General Michael Flynn and Robert Mueller trying to give him a light sentence while explaining that he's been involved in an ongoing investigation for quite some time, which is news that Q told us quite a while ago. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I always start every episode by saying thank you to my subscribers because I am truly thankful when you do that. If you haven't done it, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. If you guys want me to keep doing this, you got to go click that subscribe button, so I really appreciate it. Here's where we're going to start. Okay, this is where we left off, basically right here, Q post 2546, and we're going to go forward from there. If you guys want to get caught up on that, I would certainly encourage you guys to go back here to the channel and watch these last videos. They're going to catch you up on everything that's going on. A lot of great information there. I encourage you guys to watch it. It gives you an entire update on all of the Q posts up till now. You can go back as far as you want and watch as many as you want, and they'll give you continuous updates. But also, if you're scratching and going, what's this guy talking about? What is QAnon? Watch this video here. It's basically at the top of this landing page here on YouTube. And I want you guys to watch this video. It gives you all the information about what QAnon the Great Awakening is, how to find the information, how to get involved, all of that great stuff. If you guys want to get that information, I encourage you to come here and check it out. Okay, so getting back to the latest new posts, we have a lot to cover. If you guys watched that last video right here, where we talk about basically the latest Q posts, Q told us, as you can see right here, to watch Hannity because President Trump told us to watch Hannity. So we went and we watched Hannity. I didn't see anything. And I was really upset. I was kind of like, well, there's not much information here that's really that bombshell. And then this post came from Q saying, Fox execs pulled 3 scheduled guests. Focus 41Q. Well, there you have it. I mean, apparently Sean Hannity was going to have 3 guests on who were going to discuss an important issue, which is what I alluded to in yesterday's video. If you guys want to watch that, go back and watch it. You'll get the story of what was alluded to there. I'm not going to even go back into it. If you guys want that, go watch that video. But here you go. This is basically saying to us that the executives at Fox, executive producers, whoever, decided to pull it and put in a segment on George H.W. Bush because he has passed away, and obviously that's going to garner a huge amount of media coverage because he was a former president. So there's nothing I guess anyone could do. I don't know. I mean, the reality is, if you guys know what happened, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But to me, Q's giving us a reasonable explanation for why we didn't get that bombshell information. But don't you worry for 1 second. We have so much more information here that Q is giving us that you're going to want to stick around and listen to. And that gets right up into this next post. Okay, so as you guys all know, the breaking news. Special counsel Robert Mueller calls for a light sentence in the former Trump National Security Advisor, for former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. So the sentencing memo has been released by the special counsel with regard to Michael Flynn allegedly lying to the FBI in regard to his communications with this Russian ambassador, Sergei Kislyak, and also his connections to Turkey. Basically earning money from Turkey in some way as an advisor. So look, this is really, really crazy, this story. And Q told us this would happen, but basically the full gist of it is that the sentencing memo that was released by Robert Mueller and his team, which is featured right here. I'll leave a link to this article, which has a link to the scribed document, so you can read it in its entirety. Which I wish I could say you could read it in its entirety, but unfortunately, a very large portion of it has been redacted. As you guys can see right here, I'm scrolling through the document itself, and there's a very large portion that has been redacted. But what that large redacted portion speaks to is what Q is going to clue us in on. And this redaction actually speaks to the fact that part of the reason why Robert Mueller and his team decided to basically recommend that there was a very light or almost no punishment given for the crime that was alleged to have been committed, was because of his cooperation in, as you can see, redacted criminal investigations. So they don't even tell you what the criminal investigation is. And then when it says this, it says the defendant has provided substantial assistance in a criminal investigation, and then it's redacted for like for 3 paragraphs. And there's more redactions all the way through, and it keeps talking about how he's been helping, he's been a substantial witness, he's been giving a lot of information, and one can only speculate that this has a lot to do with some ongoing investigations that have been being run by the Department of Justice under Jeff Sessions formerly, and now Matthew Whitaker, and now the special counsel is forced basically to comply. They've been given no choice, because they've been given a fair shot. That we gave them 2 years. If in those 2 years they had given me some kind of smoking gun evidence that President Trump was colluding with the Russians, then yes, I would have listened. But no, it's been 2 years. We haven't had one iota of evidence, not one shred. And in complete contrast to the aim of that investigation, we've only uncovered more and more evidence that proves that the people who tried to get this investigation started were committing crimes by trying to get this investigation started. And not only that, that they were also working to basically undermine the fair elections in our country. They were meddling in our elections, and also committing all types of crimes. So, but this is all alleged, obviously. We have just circumstantial evidence by the mountainful, not a lot of indictments, everything's sealed, nothing's been talked about. But look, this redaction actually shows basically that they're basically saying, look, well, yeah, General Flynn lied to us about Kislyak. General Flynn lied to us about this or that, but it wasn't like a lie. It was like, oh, he forgot to tell us that he met with him on this date when he, it's like a memory test, like they say. It's called the perjury trap. So if you say something to the FBI because of the 302s and lying to the FBI being a felony, then if you misremember and say something incorrectly, you could actually be charged with a crime. That's why I recommend, just like many other people are saying now, don't talk to the FBI unless you have a lawyer, because at this point, how can you trust that institution if they're going to try to do this to you? Oh, it's a memory test. Oh, well, you wrote an email 6 years ago. Tell me about it. I don't know. Did I write an email 6 years ago? I'd have to go check my records. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, that aside, this is the whole thing with Robert Mueller. So what are they really investigating? Because if this turns out to be true, that this is just another basically process crime where it's like, oh, lying on a 302, you misremembered something, you didn't say it correctly. This is what all of Robert Mueller's full symphony of, indictments is going to lead to, is just a bunch of process crimes, a bunch of 302 violations, a bunch of basically memory tests that people failed. That to me is basically something we need to look at. But also at the same time, remember, don't forget what Q told us about this when he basically made everything out to say Q's been insinuating to the fact that General Flynn has been assisting in these big investigations behind the scenes, and that there's no reason to believe otherwise, that he's not been doing that, and that basically discovery in some of these cases, for instance, what Q told us before was that the reason why General Flynn pled guilty or whatever to and accepted the charges as given for lying on 302s, or maybe purposefully lied on 302s, who knows, was so that he could get stuff put into the official record, so he could be deposed, so he could be, have stuff put on file about what he knows. And obviously what he knows is quite incredible, given the fact that he's being basically completely given a slap on the wrist in exchange for his cooperation in helping with a criminal investigation that we don't know what's about. But do we not know what that's about? Absolutely not. We have Q, and Q tells us what everything's about, so we already know. All right, so today's December 4th. Depending on where you are, it might be December 5th, and it might be later if you're watching this video at a later point, but that's fine. The video here is, I'm recording it, it's December 12th, or December 4th, I should say. And here you go. Q's pointing us back. 1 year ago today, on the day, Q says, Who knows where the bodies are buried? Flynn is safe. We protect our patriots. Q. Exactly 365 days from the moment this post was posted, we have what? We have General Flynn getting basically being told to us as not being anything of a primary target in any investigation. And as a matter of fact, he's being given leniency for his cooperation in other ongoing investigations. Now, what are those other ongoing investigations covering? That's the real question. First, Q gives us this tweet. First tweet, NBC News. Special Counsel Robert Mueller asks a judge for little to no jail time for retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn in exchange for what they described as his substantial assistance to their investigation. Well, of course, that makes perfect sense. The next tweet that Q gives us, right, because Q says that was on December 4th, 2018. He's trying to point out that date, which is today. And it says, NBC News, there appears, although the redacted documents do not make it completely clear, that there is a separate criminal investigation going on outside of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's purview for which Flynn has been providing significant assistance. Really, Tom? Really, Tom Winter? Thank you for the breaking news. Thank you for that. Because I've been screaming that at the top of my lungs over here on Just Informed Talk for, I don't know, like a year? Thanks, Tom. Crack reporting. I'm glad you're about 10 months behind on that. Good job. Great work. I love that NBC has the worst reporters in the world, it seems. The last people to know. I'm sorry I get such a kick out of that. That really gets me. Okay, quote, NBC News, there appears, although the redacted documents do not make it completely clear, that there is a separate criminal investigation going on outside of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's purview, for which Flynn has been providing significant assistance. It says markers are important. December 4th, 2017 to December 4th, 2018. Think no name. Did Mueller have a choice in making the recommendation? Who does Mueller now report to? Does Whitaker also oversee Huber plus Office of Inspector General? What cases is Huber plus Office of Inspector General and a team of 470 currently working on? Who has the servers? Who has access to NSA Utah terminals 1 through 12? Does FISA grant access to NSA umbrella collections? You are witnessing something firsthand that many cannot possibly comprehend or accept as reality, sci-fi or precision military planning. I can't help but laugh while I'm reading this. This is like, here it is. I mean, I don't know. What more do they want? I don't know. This is coincidences. Reveal without violating national security. Coincidences. Mathematically impossible to be false. Coincidences. Bypass installed restrictions to prevent future legal attachments. Comms understood. 5-5, loud and clear. Senate was the target. Q. Okay, guys. I'm sorry. I'm actually very happy because this is what I've been waiting for. And I know that on the eve of December 5th, when we're obviously going to have all types of craziness going on, this is what we wanted to hear. Look, this is what Q is laying out for us. First of all, let's look at this plus. So pointing to this Tom Winter, the crack reporter Tom Winter, the on-the-spot guy to go to, Tom Winter at NBC News, only 10 months behind on a story. Tom Winter, he's got this. Okay, says that there's a separate criminal investigation going on outside of the special counsel. Thanks, Tom. We really needed that. Okay, but Q tells us to look at plus. Now, what is that referring to? It's something that we've been covering here since the beginning, all the way back to November 6th of 2017. Q's been talking about plus. What does plus mean? Well, here Q explains it. Plus is talking about basically the three largest players in global wealth, globalism. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. The super elite who pull strings behind the scenes, that, you know, whatever. I don't need to go into that. You guys know this. But anyway, Q used to give us these plus, and 666. I mean, obviously, all this stuff is talking about these individuals who have trillions of dollars the House of Saud in particular having $4 trillion. And the House of Saud is the Saudi Arabian royal family with a net worth of 4 trillion plus. They're able to control these global conflicts, global issues through paying for influence, and that's really what it's come down to. And I think that's why you have in the Middle East such disparaging gap between the rich and the poor, and they don't, because it's all these authoritarian dictatorships that just take all the money. But that's for a whole nother episode. Look, this is saying to us that there are 3 major houses involved. There was a 4th that was removed, and that was the Rockefellers, I believe. But so the House of Saud, the Rothschilds, and the Soros, these people control what, almost $6 trillion worth of wealth, $7 trillion worth of wealth over. That to me is incredible. That's huge. That's a very large number. If you guys don't think it is, it really is. But anyway, Q wants us to focus on these people, and it talks about these people, and it says it's asking these really important questions. Does Satan exist? Does the thought of Satan exist? Who worships Satan? What is a cult? Epstein Island. We've all studied this. We've looked at the pictures. We've seen the fact that there was this weird temple with big golden owls and old Egyptian architecture, and there's been many rumors and things alluded to by Q that suggest that there's an elevator that goes to an underground complex where all types of evil stuff was going on. And I can't tell you whether any of that was true or not, because there's been no official report on it, but this is what Q's been telling us. And that these individuals have been responsible for basically propagating this for a long time. And that to me is just what we have to fight against here in this country. I mean, no matter who you are, whoever you are watching this video, you can't for 1 second, even if you disagree with every word out of my mouth, you can't for 1 second be like, yeah, I'm cool with them worshiping Satan on an island in the Caribbean in an underground bunker where they may or may not be, committing acts of violence against children. And you can't do that unless you're literally one of them, I guess. But that to me is what we have to look at. It's sick, it's sad. But other posts here talk about how the strings were cut from the Saudis, the 3 pluses. And of course, we have the most incredible post of all, which is the latest post, obviously. No, but the truth is, guys, we've been getting this plus all along. And there's so much here that they keep pointing us back to it. But is that the investigation that's going on behind the scenes? And this is the other one that I wanted to point you to. Back in August, Q gave us this post, right? And it talks about the 302s between Bruce Orr and the FBI. And it talks about how, what are they talking about? Is it possible that all of this is related back to plus? I don't know. At the same time, this is the latest one up here. And here's the biggest one. Actually, excuse me. This is the other one I wanted to talk about. Is this one that talks about the crimes against children with Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. And this is a screenshot from Fox News where they talk about inside the Inspector General's report, one of the guys who was doing the report was taking notes and basically wrote down that they were looking at these laptops and they wanted to investigate basically Hillary Clinton and the foundation and crimes against children. Crime against children? Well, what was that referring to? And that's in the actual report itself. I mean, you can find that in the Inspector General's report, literally verbatim. It's spelled out just like it is here. And that really is what it is. And now here we are back to the Q post. But that's what the plus all refers back to. I hope that wasn't too long-winded, but it does give you a good idea of what we're looking at, what we're dealing with, what we're up against. And that to me is yeah, I mean, I my whole life I've devoted to God and to telling you guys the truth as I know it. And everything I've seen, all the evidence I've seen leads me to believe that we're up against some really dark forces of evil that we have to fight against. But and we're going to fight with the truth. That's it. Just with information and the truth and supporting those who are out fighting the real fight every day. uh, across the world. And I'm talking to you, men and women in uniform. So that obviously is what that is. So General Flynn, I guess he's been giving them information on the House of Saud, the Saudi connection to everything, because he was the general under Obama. He knows it all. He was there. Then the other thing says think no name. Obviously think back to John McCain and how now we have Matthew Whitaker in charge, and how he's basically overseeing both the special counsel investigation and Huber and the Office of Inspector General's investigation, and that they have access to, this is very important, the national security agencies, the NSA's, Utah terminals. So the Utah facility that they built was this massive complex that houses an incredible amount of servers that collect an incredible amount of metadata on everything you do and every website you visit, every text message you send, every phone call you make, every time you fart and Alexa picks it up. You're going to have that in those metadata servers, and they can just go query it. They can go Google those servers, basically. They can go into a search engine, type your name, and they can find everything about you through that technology, and everything you've ever done too. I mean, it's not like it's completely dragnet. There's nothing that is missed by it, basically. And that's what it is. They have access to that. Does FISA grant access to NSA umbrella collection? The reality is that FISA, I don't know how that works behind the scenes. I would say that it's very likely that they grant access to the NSA's umbrella collection. But at the same time, by granting access to that umbrella collection, they can trace that directly back to the people who queried it in the first place. So the people who went and tried to find the information, they can be found very quickly. And that's what Q's wanting us to look at, is that, like, hey, FISA used the NSA database. They have access to all that. They can see who used it and what they used it for. And then they can put two and two together and say, look, there was no crime. They made up a crime, and then they went and tried to basically use that crime as a predicate to investigate someone in order to find dirt on them, in order to undermine their ability to become elected, in the case of President Trump. And then a whole slew of violations of law for other people, and that they access this on or against. And it tells us we're seeing something firsthand that many can't comprehend. So I think there are just so many people out there who really believe this. Oh, well, this is all crazy. Like, there's no way. There's no way that 3 years ago there was a plan being hatched inside the military against a sitting administration to call them out for their complete treasonous behavior. Nobody would believe that. But apparently that's what Q is telling us is the truth. I'm going to leave that to you guys to decide. I'm just reporting it. Don't shoot the messenger. Please don't. I'm not here to tell you anything other than what Q is telling us, and to spread that information. So, then it says, it talks about coincidences, right? And this is all Q is about. Q is all about the coincidences, revealing without violating national security. That's why they can't tell us this stuff directly, so you don't violate national security. The mathematically impossible nature of all this. So many things come true that Q says. It's almost impossible to think, oh yeah, this is just some LARP on 8chan. Oh yeah, it's a LARP on 8chan. That's a great tagline. Let's use that. I'm talking to like the editor and over at Vox. This bypass installed restrictions to prevent future legal attachments. So I think that this being a military intelligence operation, I'm assuming, is going to be outside of legal, attachments. Okay, I don't know. I think it's basically saying that there's no future legal ramifications for giving this information, because it's important. I mean, you have to bypass this media that won't tell us things. We're the American people. We deserve to know, or we deserve to at least have the idea of what's going on behind the scenes, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. Comms understood, 5-5. Yes, 5-5 means like loud and clear. So comms understood. Yes, we understand. Senate was the target. That's what we got. It was the Senate all along, so that when these big things go down and they're brought to the Senate eventually, that we'll have the votes to get stuff done. All right, now the next one. Logical thinking, D5, drops first through last. Content and dates. Huber drops first through last. Content and dates. Role of Huber as portrayed by Q. What are the odds, mathematical probability, that Huber would be scheduled to testify regarding Clinton Foundation on D5? What are the odds, mathematical probability, George H.W. Bush passes away and the state funeral date is on D5? What other interviews and investigations were wiped clean, postponed, given a state funeral takes up media coverage for a week? Why does the global fake news media, largest in the world, continually attack Q? Why is the Washington Post leading the attack? Think ABC agency. When you are awake, you can see clearly. Rapid fire Q. Guys, let me just clarify everything. QAnon has been telling us for a long time about December 5th, saying D5. Q's been telling us for a long time about John Huber. John Huber and D5 are obviously connected. John Huber, working with a team of 470 investigators and the head of the Office of Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, has been conducting an investigation behind the scenes, originally at the direction of Jeff Sessions, now being wrapped up by Matthew Whitaker. Okay? And it was all about the Clinton Foundation and their involvement with Saudi Arabia, which goes all the way back to the original Q post, which told us about Alice in Wonderland. It said Alice and Wonderland, which was a direct reference to Hillary Clinton and Saudi Arabia, and how she let that influence from those individuals, along with others, corrupt her administrative rule at the State Department. Now, let me just put this into terms that people who are new to this can understand. John Huber has been investigating Hillary Clinton as far as her connection to Saudi Arabia since November of last year. So over a year now. And his team has grown exponentially from that point to where now he has a team of 470 investigators that are working with him. Now, what we saw today with General Michael Flynn, and this is obviously, to me, the redacted portion is talking directly about Saudi Arabia and the investigation into the Clinton Foundation, Hillary Clinton herself, and the people around her and their connections to the Saudis. Now, the reason why you saw, Putin slapping hands with MBS, the Saudi prince, and having a good old time, and now you hear the CIA, Gina Haspel, coming out and saying that he was definitely behind the Khashoggi thing. The reason that all happens in that form and fashion is because, in my humble opinion, the Saudis know that we're having this investigation. Now they have proof to see it for themselves, even though there's no real proof here. It's just redaction and speculation. But I'm sure they could speculate just as we could and say it's very possible that this investigation that's been ongoing has been into that, and they've been cooperating with us. But at the same time, I mean, we have to keep protecting ourselves when it comes to this. And then it talks about the Clinton Foundation. It says, what are the odds that Huber would be scheduled to testify about the Clinton Foundation on December 5th? They're astronomical, okay? And what are the odds that President George H.W. Bush would pass away and have a state funeral on the same day? Astronomical again, right? Especially if we've been being told all this for a long time. This is what other interviews and investigations were wiped clean, postponed, given a state funeral takes up media coverage. If you guys will remember, back in August, when Justice Kavanaugh was supposed to be sitting in front of Congress and going through his confirmation hearings, we had the same exact thing happen. John McCain passed away. It took up basically about a week's worth of government activity, and then they got back to it a week later. But this is the same thing. It almost seems like it's a stall tactic, but obviously I'm not going to say that because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if these people were how they really passed. I mean, other than what's been reported on the news. All I can say is this, that this information that Q's giving us is groundbreaking. This is beyond anything that we could ever imagine. And it says, why does the global fake news media, largest in the world, continually attack Q? Well, Q is like the second most attacked person by the mainstream media next to President Trump, because what are we doing? All we're doing is telling the truth as we know it. and trying and asking questions. I mean, that's what they're really afraid of. They're afraid of us asking questions about certain things and understanding the narrative in a certain way that goes against the one that they try to paint for us, especially people at the Washington Post, who obviously Q is telling us are connected to the CIA. You can look back at their history. I've seen enough like documentaries about it. It's they've been together for a while. In my opinion, I don't know for a fact. It's my opinion. There you go. Whatever. You can take my opinion and do with it what you want. But it says, when you are awake, you can see clearly. Of course, we're awake. We can see what's going on here. We see the big picture. We see everything going on. And not only do we see everything that's going on, we can tell when something is right and when something's wrong. It's the smell test, you know, and that's really what we have here. You know, all we have is our gut, and we have our intuition, and we have all the facts and circumstantial evidence that's been laid out for so long, and we're making our own conclusions, and that's driving the media crazy because they want to make conclusions on that magical TV screen you watch. And if you're watching this on a TV, it's different. But anyway, they want you to take their conclusions as your all being knowledge in life. And that's really, to me, why Q keeps stressing that we use our own logical thinking. And to me, that's really the best part about all of the stuff that we do here, is that it forces us to actually have this debate. It forces us to have this conversation. It forces us to look at this information in a new light. And to me, that's really important. So I hope that cleared some stuff up. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please come here on the landing page. Click the big red subscribe button. That helps the channel a lot. Stick around for a few more announcements. Guys, I'm heading to DC tomorrow, and I'm going to be there for almost a week attending this conference, the American Priority Conference, which you can find out more information on at americanpriority.com. But there's going to be an incredible amount of people there. There's going to be cool people there. People I'm looking forward to meeting. There's going to be Corey Lewandowski, David Bossie. There's going to be Mike Cernovich, Laura Loomer, even Jack Posobiec, and a bunch of other really big names are going to be showing up. Even some surprise names that I can't talk about but might actually be there that you would never expect. But let me tell you this. This conference is going down. It's in Washington, D.C. I'm going to do my best to bring you as much content as I can from it. I'm going to be filming there. I'm going to be participating in panels. I'm going to be doing like a discussion there about free speech. I'm going to be talking to other YouTubers there who are going to be showing up. There's going to be so much. Like literally it's going to be, I'm going to try to fit as much as I can into 3 days. So I'm going to try to post as much as I can. I might even do some live streaming. I'm not sure about that yet. But I'll tell you this. If you guys want to meet me there and you're going to be in DC this weekend or in the next couple days, like this week, come here to americanpriority.com. Click here to register. You buy your tickets. You can show up and you can ask your questions. There's going to be a lot of great people there. And I'm not saying that all the people who are going to show up are people I 100% agree with and I think are, you know, totally right in everything they say. But I will say it's a great group of people that we're going to have a great discussion with. And I want to bring what you guys give me, I want to bring to them. You know what I mean? I want to come to them with the questions you have. And if you guys want to show up, please do. If you've already booked your tickets, let me know down in the description or down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, this is it. This weekend, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, as President Trump would say. So AmericanPriority.com, come here, register. I think you can still use the coupon code for your tickets. Where we go one, we go all. Put WWG1WGA in the coupon code section, and you can get a discount. You can get tickets, and you can be here at the conference. That's awesome. Also, another way you can help out the channel is to come over here to Twitter. Find me on Twitter at Justin_Form. Come over here to JustinFormedNews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk. It's got all the links to Q, all the links to different news websites, nice news feeds. I'm trying to clean it up, make it good for you guys. But you guys should come check that out for sure as well. Also, another couple ways you can help out the channel are both financial. If you guys want to help keep this channel going, you want to make sure that I stay funded in the face of all this demonetization and what goes on at YouTube, please come here to Patreon. That's patreon.com. Search Just Informed Talk. When you come here, all you do is click this Become a Patron button. It's a monthly donation. And if you guys weren't here supporting me, I couldn't do this kind of stuff. Like go to a conference in Washington, D.C. and meet a bunch of media personalities and ask questions and bring our content, what we do and what we cover to them, and then, start a conversation. So your support here is more important now than ever, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Also, if you guys want to contribute a one-time donation, I have a GoFundMe. It's gofundme.com/just-informed. You can come here and make a one-time donation, and you can make it anonymously. That helps out the channel out more than you guys, helps the channel out more than you guys will ever know. So, before we go, I want to talk about the most important thing, and that's God's grace and how it is truly greater. And for that, I'm going to read to you guys Psalm 51, one of the most beautiful Psalms in the whole Bible, in my opinion. But it says, "Be gracious to me, God, according to your faithful love. According to your abundant compassion, blot out my rebellion. Wash away my guilt and cleanse me from my sin. For I am conscious of my rebellion, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you alone, I have sinned and done this evil in your sight." So, you are right. When you pass sentence, you are blameless when you judge. Indeed, I was guilty when I was born. I was sinful when my mother conceived me. Surely you desire integrity in the inner self, and you teach me wisdom deep within. Purify me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones you have crushed rejoice. Turn your face away from my sins and blot out all my guilt. God, create a clean heart for me and renew my steadfast spirit within me. Do not banish me from your presence or take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore the joy of your salvation to me and give me a willing spirit. Then I will teach the rebellious your ways, and sinners will return to you. Save me from the guilt of bloodshed, God, the God of my salvation, and my tongue will sing of your righteousness. Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. You do not want a sacrifice, or I would give it. You are not pleased with a burnt offering. The sacrifice pleasing to God is a broken spirit. God, you will not despise a broken and humbled heart. And yeah, that's the way I feel a lot. This was Psalm 51, which is called a prayer for restoration. And if you guys are following along with that, it explains everything. It's like the whole idea of God doesn't, he chooses people who are, God does choose people who are broken, because he understands that there is a life in redemption, and there is something that can be gained from losing everything. And I know that for some people that's hard to understand, but the reality is humility is something that so few really take as a serious character quality that's important in today's society, at least. But that's something God's called us to from the beginning, is to humble ourselves before him, to understand that we don't know everything, but God does. And God calls those who have been led astray or have been lost to reach out to others to bring them back, because that's just the way that life has worked forever. Is God works through us in very mysterious ways that not always we can understand. And that's what I believe God has done in my case, and I know he's done in so many others across the world since the dawn of time. So I pray for each and every one of you to find that redemption from God, and to go out into the world and bring others back away from that sin, away from that evil, away from what's going on and what can be construed as, these dark times that we live in. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I want to say thank you for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please come here, click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you leave a like. Yeah, why not? All right. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.